Salam and welcome back to another very exciting Photoshop tutorial. My name is Visha and today I'm going to show you how to create this very cool photo manipulation of these coronaviruses coming out of this laptop. And as you can see, a lot is going on in this picture, so I'm going to be explaining to you guys step by step how to make all of this. So in the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you are interested in Adobe products, then this is your channel. Go ahead and subscribe. So let's begin. Alright, so to start off, I'm gonna go to create new and I'm gonna select this custom template that I have already created. This is a 4x3 template, 1200 pixels width and 1500 pixels height, and I'm gonna write here Corona 3 maybe, and everything else seems to be okay. Let's make it 8-bit and press create. Before moving any further, let me just tell you guys, I'm trying to recreate this photo manipulation, so it's gonna be like a trial and error type of situation, and don't expect this to be a very detailed and a beginner level tutorial. If you want a beginner level tutorial, there are plenty of tutorials in my channel. You can go ahead and watch them. I will try to be as much clear as possible and explain to you guys as much as possible in this one. With that said, let's move ahead. I'm gonna be bringing this guy into the Photoshop, this background image, and I'm increasing the size by pressing Alt and Shift, so it stays, proportion stays the same, and I'm gonna be shifting it by pressing Shift key just like that and press Enter. I want some more of this part, so I'm just going to double click here and go to the original image, and I'm going to take this crop tool and I'm gonna be clicking here, content aware, and I'm gonna just give it some more space just like that, and click this tick mark. There you go. Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and make it flat image, and now we can save it. Shift it down. Now let's go ahead and bring this guy into Photoshop, and we are going to cut it out. So press enter or click this tick mark, and let's go ahead and take the object selection tool and click select subject, so that we don't have to go the painful process of selecting it out using the pen tool. So I'm going to be selecting the lasso tool, zoom in here, and right now we have selected the subject, so I will have to remove some areas from the subject. I'm left clicking and pressing Alt key to remove, and this part as well. I'm gonna be fast forwarding some parts of this tutorial because otherwise it's going to be really boring. Now that we have selected the subject, let's go ahead and click select and mask, and yeah, we are going to use on layers as view, increase the feather amount and decrease the shift edge to maybe -25, and everything looks okay, I guess. Let's increase the smoothness to maybe 5 and press OK. And now we are going to create a mask by clicking this add layer mask, and yeah, it looks okay. If you want, you can go ahead and do some refinements. I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's go ahead and desaturate this guy by going to image, adjustments, and hue and saturation. I'm gonna be decreasing the hue and saturation all the way. Press OK, and maybe press Ctrl T and rotate it. Maybe let's create the virus that is coming out of this laptop first of all. I'm gonna rotate it like this because the highlight is coming from this side and we have a nice shadow down here. So rotate it like that and press enter, and Let's go ahead and put some colors onto these crowns, I guess is what they are called. Coronavirus is crown virus, I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to go down here and create an adjustment layer of hue and saturation, and I'm going to press colorize, and I'm going to find a green color. I'm going to use green color. If you want, you can use any color that you want. Maybe darken it a bit. It looks okay, and I'm gonna be clipping it to that layer down below. You can clip it from here, or you can just press Alt key and click in the middle, just like that. Looks good. Next, I'm gonna be right clicking this layer and go to blending options, and I'm gonna be playing around with blend if. I'm gonna Alt click this slider and bring this guy just like that, and this guy as well to the right side. You can see that the green is fading into the gray as the shadows are getting darker, so that is what we want. And this side as well, maybe like that. Okay, looks okay. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna invert this mask by pressing Ctrl I, and we're gonna paint the areas that we want the green to be on. Zooming in here, and I've taken the brush tool and decrease the opacity to maybe 70%, and I'm going to switch to white as I'm going to paint white over black. So white is visible and black is invisible. So right now the mask is in black color, so we are gonna be painting with white. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. Just like that. You can go ahead and be precise with this one by making a selection, and yeah, but I'm just gonna be lazy on this one. By the way, you can move outside, and because this layer is clipped to the layer below, doesn't matter. I'm gonna be fast forward in this part. Alright, so now that we have colored over all the areas, what we can do is we can erase some of these areas because these are too light, and the shadow will keep it a bit more darker. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's take black color and let's click once here as well, just like that, and we can do the opposite of that here. So swap to white color and decrease opacity to maybe 20%, and just press here because we want to give the highlight of green color even on the surface of this virus. I don't know why I'm trying to beautify this virus, such a deadly thing. Yeah, I think this looks good enough for all of the viruses that we are going to be using in this one. So alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select both of these layers, and we are going to press shift and click group. That will group out this guy, so we can use this plenty of times. So I'm gonna make a copy out of this, Ctrl J, and let's hide the layer below, and maybe if you want you can rename this. Just double click on the name and write laptop virus, and press Ctrl T. Okay, and shift key and decrease the size just about there, maybe increase it a bit, rotate it around, press enter. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna create another mask over this group. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's first of all take the polygonal lasso tool, and we're going to get the angle of this laptop so that we can make a nice cutout, just like that. And let's bring back this guy, maybe move the selection, maybe like so. And let's go ahead and press Alt key and click the layer, add layer mask. That will create a negative layer mask. So you can untick this link, and we can move around this guy and adjust it however we want. And if you want to move this guy, you can just select the mask and move it around. If you want to move the virus, you can move around just like that. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to have to create a shadow. Let's move this guy down here and name it original virus. And yeah, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to create another adjustment layer of exposure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just decrease the exposure amount to maybe minus 256, minus 2.56, and clip it to the layer below. And I'm gonna be doing the same thing, control invert, and I'm going to take the brush tool and just close this and just press in the middle just like that, and keep pressing until you get a good shadow. Increase the brush size. And we can duplicate this layer again by pressing Ctrl J and clip it to the layer below just like that, and maybe remove some of these shadows because we want a very hard shadow closer to the virus. So we can choose black from here and erase some of these shadows. Guess looks okay. You can swap this color by pressing X. Looks okay. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to duplicate this layer by pressing Ctrl J again, and we're gonna move this guy right above the virus just like that, and instantly it creates a shadow. But we can fix that. We are going to clip it to the laptop virus layer, and you know what, let's remove delete this layer mask and create another layer mask and press Ctrl I, and I'm going to be selecting the brush tool, and maybe manually we can create a shadow just like that. See, when you zoom out, it looks good. Now you should keep in mind that this shadow should be close enough to the dark areas of this picture, so might have to make it darker, and here as well. And if you want to make it a bit more darker, so you can double click here and decrease the exposure a bit more, just like that. And if you want to erase some of these parts, you can just swap the color again and put some highlights, just like that. Maybe duplicate this layer again and clip it, and let's go ahead and delete this layer. I left click this mask by pressing Alt key, Alt left click to get inside of the mask, and I'm going to erase this. Just take the black color and paint over it, and I'm going to just decrease the brush size by the brush, decreasing the brush size by pressing Alt key and moving it around. Maybe swap this to white, way too much, maybe 50% opacity. Yeah. Okay, I think we have spent too much time on this guy. So if you want two viruses, you can just select all of these, press Ctrl J to duplicate, and you can just move this guy. Make sure to lock the layer mask and move this guy right about there, and press Ctrl T and shrink it down just like that, and hit enter. And one thing you can do is unlock this layer, and you can get this guy out a bit more, just like that, or you can make it like it's just beginning to come out. You might have to erase some of these shadows. Just erase just like that, no big deal. And it's gonna be small, so it doesn't really matter. We can make the shadows a bit softer because it is a small thing, and just go ahead and erase some of these areas because it's too much. Make it just like that. Okay, so let's lock this guy and this guy as well. And the next thing we're gonna do is let's bring this guy up here. I have copied this layer by pressing Alt and dragging it to the top. And let's go ahead and maybe press Ctrl T. Okay, shrink it down, rotate it around just like that, maybe place it there, press enter, and let's go ahead and cut out this guy's hand. Just cut his hand. I'm gonna be taking the pen tool, create a path, just roughly, and I think looks okay. Let's go ahead and make a big selection just like that, and maybe make it a shape, and hide it so that we can make a selection out of this whenever we want. So put it behind the background layer. Let's call this guy laptop, behind the laptop layer. So yeah, let's bring this guy back. So we're going to create a mask out of this shape. So what we're going to do is we're gonna press Ctrl and click this thumbnail just like that, and it will create a selection. And we're going to press Alt and click here, and just like that we have a mask. Now the next thing is to create some shadows right about here. So let's bring this guy maybe here, and ignore everything else. Let's go ahead and hide everything else so that it's not a distraction, except for this guy. You know what, let's just copy this exposure layer from this guy. Yep, I'm just going to copy this guy. Just Ctrl J and right click, delete layer mask. I'm gonna create a mask, and I'm going to Ctrl I and invert mask, and I'm gonna be clipping this guy to the layer below. Let's rename this guy to maybe hand virus, and I'm going to paint over the mask with white color. So it's gonna be doing something like that. Let's decrease the opacity to maybe 30%. Put another exposure layer, maybe increase this brightness to maybe 1 and clip it down just like that, and invert, Control I, and we're gonna be just putting some highlights, nothing too fancy, just like that. There you go. There's the hand virus. There's something we missed. Can you guys guess what it is? Shadows on this guy's hands. So what we're gonna be doing is we're going to duplicate this exposure layer just like that, and we have a nice shadow just like that. Double click here, decrease the exposure maybe like that, and let's erase some of these areas. Swap, going to erase this part. Let's bring these guys back. My god, there are so many layers. Okay, so the next thing we can do is we can copy this guy, all these three layers. Let's go ahead and copy, press Alt key and drag it up just like that, and let's remove, right click, delete layer mask, and let's bring this guy here maybe, and press Ctrl T, press OK, and increase the size just like that. I'm sorry about my voice, it's getting really late, so I'm just going to be finishing this tutorial as soon as possible. Okay, so the next thing we can do is make this guy into smart object and maybe rasterize this layer. Go to filter, blur gallery, and lens blur, and maybe decrease lens blur to maybe 16. It's good. I guess this covers everything. Maybe put something behind. Let's go ahead and copy this layer, these 3 layers again, and put it up just like that. Remove the layer mask, right click, delete layer mask, play around with these shadows. Let's go ahead and make it a bit lighter. Because the shadow is going to be uniform, I guess. It's going to be darker in the middle and lighter on the edges. It's okay. And let's make this guy into a smart object. Let's make this guy to a smart object again. And something like that. Maybe you put it here and make another copy of this. Maybe make this guy filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Decrease the blur amount to maybe 1 point. Yep, I think 1 is good enough. And maybe decrease this guy, scale it down to maybe like that, and go to filter, Gaussian blur, and increase it maybe. One final thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to save this, export as, export. Let's go ahead and bring this guy back, and maybe go to filter, camera raw filter, and maybe play around with these settings and see what settings are the best. I'm gonna be increasing the green amount just to pop out this green color a bit more. Alright guys, that pretty much sums up everything. This tutorial has gotten way more longer than what I have intended, so sorry about that. And yeah, if you liked the video, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and give a like to this video. That would mean a lot to me. That actually helps me and motivates me to make more tutorials like this. And yeah, help me get to 1000 subscribers, guys. And as always, I hope you guys are staying healthy and safe, and I hope I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, salam.